Good Monday morning. I am the host of Motivational Mondays and founder and lead empower mentor of Motivation.In.Action, Genevieve Jones-Wright. And we are continuing our September conversations themed around National Recovery Month. And it is my pleasure to present part of the story of a wonderful woman by the name of Elizabeth Nichols. So thank you so much for being here. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning. I love it. Thank you for having me, dear.
Yes. So, I'm going to really struggle not calling you Libby.
Okay, that's okay.
Because I've known you for forever, ever since I was a child.
Yes.
And we affectionately call you Libby.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you, who is Elizabeth Nichols?
Genevieve, I am mom. I am nana. I am sister. I am friend. I am auntie. And worthy to be called those when I regained credibility after my personal journey through crack and back.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's really powerful because you are worthy to be esteemed by those titles.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Despite what you've been through.
Yes.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
So September is, of course, National Recovery Month. What does that mean for you personally?
Personally, it means to get back to normal, so to speak, after going through a bout with drug addiction or abuse, alcohol or drug abuse, yeah. And I did that in my life. I started everything at a late age, actually. In my 20s, I was kind of dabbled with marijuana. And in my 30s, I didn't have lofty goals. What I did was, during the 80s, I wanted to have a car, a job, and an apartment. And that was for most people around my age, that was it. And then before I stepped into temptation of experimenting with certain drugs, marijuana first, and in my 30s, it started that I guess maybe you get a little slower as you age, and I liked uppers. I liked to feel up and high, so I liked taking like Black Widows, mini bennies, they called it in those days.
Okay, you got to tell me. Tell us, what are Black Widows?
This is a certain capsule, a pill that you take that is that gives you a high of not being. I didn't like the highs that would make you low or depressed. I like to feel up, and I could do my homework, do whatever I'm doing, and just stay focused and feel happy, But that was fake. It was false, Happiness, not feeling that those endorphins or whatever things are considered in your brain, the dopamine and stuff. That's natural. I wanted it elevated, And I did that for a while. I chose that. That was my drug of choice. Being cocaine, it developed, it progressed to that, I wasn't proud of it, but I didn't have anything. I didn't have lofty goals, like I stated. So I was just trying to do something in my life that other people were doing, and I shouldn't have been doing anyway, and being led by the negativity, Yeah.
So that part of your story is a little different than what we usually hear. Most times we hear that people started with the hard drugs a little earlier in life. Mm-hmm. And here you're saying, I was looking for something and I didn't start the hard drugs until my 30s.
Yes, 30s. Yes, I was pregnant and using as well. And I was looking for love and looking for acceptance in all the wrong places and all the wrong faces.
There's a part of your story that I'm not sure a lot of people know. But, I think about my aunt, and you went to school with her, and she would always tell me how you were just so beautiful, and you're still so beautiful today. But you went to Lincoln High School, and you were like homecoming prom queen or something like that?
Different things like that. It was in 11th grade, I said, looking through the yearbook, I said, I'm buying this yearbook, and I'm not even in here. The next couple of years, I was in every club I could get in, and people in my grade necessarily didn't like me, so to speak. You have haters, but the grades above me and below me, they liked me. They voted for me for different, a couple of other queens that they had during high school. Yeah, and then one year After I graduated, I was one of the first Black Charger cheerleaders for San Diego. And as well, I had won a pageant. So I have a title, Miss Afro-America San Diego, 1972. I'm aging myself. Yes, yes, I am. And then had a picture of me in one of the Black prominent magazines, the Jet. It was a centerfold picture. And I had on a bikini. I wasn't nude. But I did some things like that in the community theater. I delved in that, doing plays and acting. And my family was always glad, if I paid attention to them accepting me when I was doing something like that. But let me tell you, when I started the drugs, it was like, my mother. I never thought of all my children that you would be the one to start doing drugs. Well, when it gets you, that addiction gets you, and it's like, leave me alone. I want to do what I want to do, but being pregnant and losing my mom, her dying before my first child was born, I was still just using and chasing a ghost, like they say, just using drugs, trying to cover up pain,
Yeah.
But one day, I was pregnant with my second child and was trying to figure that out. What's going on with me? I was like 3 months in utero. I was working at the welfare office, and I thought, well, I'm not feeling well. I'm gonna go to UCSD hospital and figure out if I'm pregnant or not. Get this thing verified. And so I got on the trolley. I didn't get my ticket validated, and I got put off the trolley on 32nd and Commercial by the Christ the King Church. This is a spiritual journey, let me tell you. I started walking and crying and praying, and I looked up at the statue that was in front of the church where it's like Jesus depicted with no hands.
Yes, I know that
and I'm
statue.
like, God, if you really exist, show me where I'm supposed to be. Let me know what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. I'm too old for this, because all the while using the drugs, in the back of my mind, something was saying, this is not what you're supposed to be doing. You're not supposed to do this. And I'm sure now, in hindsight, it was the Holy Spirit letting me know. But God had his hand on me the whole time of me doing that stupid drug, the drug of choice when it turned into crack, So I started walking, crying, and praying, and I ended up on Market Street and 30th or 25th, and I looked over at this building. It was the House of Metamorphosis. That means change. I said, maybe that's where I'm supposed to be. Went in, did intake, and they had a bed that night. So I thought, God, this is where I'm supposed to be. And that was like March 19th, 1990. And I don't want to look back, because I don't want to turn into a pillar of crack. So 32 years ago, I started the journey, and here I am today. And what I did since then, how I wanted to help others. I went back to school, earned an alcohol and other drugs certificate. Then I thought, well, maybe I'll earn my bachelor's degree in human services. Well, not doing anything else, I'll just go for my master's degree in human services and started working as a certified addiction treatment counselor and helping other women who went through what I did, being pregnant and using, or just using. And you can't be a good parent or a citizen or anything when you're so high on drugs and alcohol. So
I love that, because you're using your lived experience and your personal story to help other people make the journey that you've made and that you're continuing to make every single day.
Yes. That pain through that eventful time of my personal drug use brought about a passion for me to work on purpose, because I thought, you have a purpose in your life. What am I supposed to do with this, God? So it just was a setup for me to start working with women who did the same thing that I did and made those choices. Yeah.
I just love that. I really do. I do, because this is you being vulnerable. This is you being transparent. This is you saying, I can help someone else that may have been in the same shoes that I was in. And you've dedicated your life to that.
Yes, I did. I'm retired now. However, I'm still sober and trying to do what I can with the youth in my family and youngsters, although everybody's going to do what they want to do. You know, I try to live my life as that sober person to be an example for them. And hopefully my grandson, I talked to him because as I was telling you before, I'm thinking of writing a book about prevention so that young people, maybe impressionable age 8 or 9, that they won't make that choice, to experiment with mind-altering or mood-altering chemicals.
Yeah. So last week we shared the story of Roxy Walnum, who is also in recovery and has 3 decades plus of being sober. She's the executive director of Crossroads. And I know you're familiar with Crossroads. And she talked about how her daughter fell into addiction, but it was through her exampleship that her daughter got on the pathway to sobriety and has now years of being sober. And so, you know, you just struck a chord with me again, this kind of repeated theme that we have to be examples for the people around us, for our families.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, we do.
So, gonna ask you this question. What has been your key to success?
My key to success, once I feel the whole experience was spiritual, was God's grace and God's love on me and my inner determination to stay sober, because there were people who said that I wouldn't do it, I wasn't going to do it, but I wanted to show them, I wanted to show the haters, yes I can, yes I will, and yes I did.
And yes, you are.
Yes, I am.
Yes. So what would you leave today with someone who may be listening in, who's struggling with addiction themselves?
Yes. You know, you can be addicted to anything, any substance, you know, food or sex or drugs. But I would say to them to make healthy choices. Whatever you decide to do in your life is choices and consequences. So make healthy choices. Don't do anything to harm yourself or anyone else. Thank you.
I love that message. So you've heard it. I don't need to summarize it, but I am going to emphasize it. Make healthy choices. Every single day is full of choices, but make healthy choices so that you don't harm yourself or others. I really just want to thank you again for sharing this story. I know you were a little bit out of your comfort level by coming here, but your story is just as awesome and as wonderful as you are. And I just want to thank you for being so inspirational.
Thank you so much, too.
Thank you so much for joining us for this week's Motivational Mondays. I'm going to see you next week, same time, same place, right here, with more inspiration to help you jumpstart your week. Now, if you found this week's conversation inspirational or motivational in any way, maybe you got a gem to carry with you throughout the day or the week, please feel free to like, comment, and share. Because remember, everyone can use some motivation. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. I'll see you next week.